Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating a session of Cloven Pine Games in development game Checkpoint Midnight. This is about supernatural espionage in Vienna, post-war. We've set out in 1948. This is kind of Cold War espionage with supernatural characters. And so far we've introduced three of the characters. We have a fourth character joining us today, and we've also fleshed out Checkpoint Midnight, which is the name of the game, but it is also the cafe come bar come nightclub which is a kind of neutral ground for all supernatural characters. This game is organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's monthly Hangouts calendar, though technically this was a bit late for the calendar, but same principles. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, then I would suggest you check out one of the earlier episodes in this series where I go into some detail. We are just coming off a very successful last weekend Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, where we got to play with lots of new players and some people new to online. Callum, who's joining us today, I played with him during that for the first time about a week ago, actually. And so if you don't know about the Gauntlet, look us up. You would love to come and play with us because it's great. But one of the things about the Gauntlet is we like to say that we have a really strong table culture, and some of that table culture is driven by our very firm ideas about safety tools and safety at the table. So I will remind the players that we are running with a set of safety tools today. We're running within the Gauntlet community's Good Conduct Guide, Code of Conduct, which just lays down some of the principles, and I like to summarize it as don't be a dick, because that's not what we're like on the Gauntlet. We're also running with some lines and veils, and I'll remind the players that there is a tab in the Character Keeper with some lines and veils. We're running with lines on sexual assault and violence, harm to children, harm to animals, perils to pregnant women and infants, and detail of Nazi atrocities. We're also running with veils, which are where we will draw the curtain. They may crop up in the fiction, unlike the lines. And the veils we're playing with are on consensual sex, domestic violence, drug abuse, torture by PCs or NPCs, explicit racism, explicit homophobia or transphobia. So there may be a hint of those, but we won't get the detail. We will draw a line. And we're also playing with the X card. So whatever the lines and veils say, if at any point one of the players feels uncomfortable about where the fiction is taking us, then they can play the X card. I'm much better with a visual X card than one in the chat. If any other player sees somebody putting X card in the chat and I don't appear to react, please, stop me in my tracks, or I may stop you. Anyone can play it. I won't ask what's triggered that need to play the X card or that desire to play the X card. I might ask the players how far back in the fiction they want me to roll, so I can play forward, hopefully avoiding whatever has triggered their desire to play the X card. So I think those are the principles. I forget because it's on my screen in front of me, but I should say my pronouns are he, him. I will now ask the players to say hello and invite them to give us a brief description of the character they're playing. And I'll do this in Character Keeper order, so our new player comes last. Can I start by saying, Max, say hello and tell us something about Nico Fuchs.
Yeah, I'm Max, he, him pronouns. I'm playing Nico, also he, him pronouns. Nico is an adept, specifically the Vetma role, so kind of a supernatural blood mage / investigator. I can gather information pretty well. Yeah, that's the basics of it. I'm a blood mage.
Yes. And I noticed you've taken, you leveled up last time. You got an advancement, which is patch 'em up. Okay.
Yes. Just in
moving
case.
along. Will, say hello and tell us something about Pearl.
Sure. Hi, I'm Will, he, him, or they, them pronouns both work. I am playing Pearl, who is a construct of the golem nature. So she looks like a beautiful, famous Austrian statue, and she is fascinated with humanity and the idea that it is, self-created. How is it that they aren't created by someone else? And yeah, and with the hair accessories. So
yeah, of course, the hair accessories. And sorry, I should have put a picture up of Nico, but I wasn't quite quick enough. Okay. And then moving along, Jim, say hello and tell us something about Chaz Hamilton.
Hey, I am Jim Crocker. Folks that know me from outside the gauntlet, if you recognize me, it may be because you bought a game from me at some point. I'm a retailer of role-playing games at lots of conventions up and down the East Coast and near Midwest, Gen Con, Origins, stuff like that, with my friends at Indie Press Revolution. If you are curious what I am doing with all of this gaming stuff, now that there are no conventions going on, you can find me on Twitter at Jim Likes Games, just like it sounds. And I've got a website, jimlikesgames.com, where I talk about what I'm doing. And I actually, whatever sales I can make in between conventions, that helps keep me going. I am playing Charles Chaz Hamilton, a Black American GI who realized he liked it in Europe, and so stayed after the war instead of going back home. So I am a piper, and that means that I have, at some point, someone gave me a magical musical instrument that in my case can summon and maybe control a little bit birds, flocks of birds and things like that. So there we go. There's my harmonica that I use to do that, and my straight razor I carry around in my pocket because it's perfectly legal to carry a razor around with you. And that's my swanky car that I drive around Vienna here. So yeah, I think it's the playbook is the Dodger, and there's a couple of different kinds of Dodgers you can be. But that's basically someone who's slick and social and kind of is about the long con, the short con, whatever con you might be running sort of at that moment. So
thank you. And finally, our new player for this session and the last session next week, Callum, say hello and tell us something about Djinn Gil.
So, yeah, hello, I am Callum from the Rollis podcast, the show of tabletop RPG fans across the channel, The Pond and beyond. So please go check it out. But today I'm going to play Djinn Gil, who is inspired by the fantastic French actor Jean Gabin in a French movie called La Traversée de Paris, 4 Bags Full from 1956, which I really recommend. It's both a comedy and a drama. And Djinn Gil, behind this look of retired boxer, is a elemental, more specifically a djinn. So as all elementals, he is bound to an object, and whoever is in possession of this object might give some orders to Gilles. But more specifically, as a djinn, my element is air. And I think it translates in the way how the air could be, a soft caressing breeze, or it could be a tempest which knocks you off your socks. So that's Djinn Gil for you.
Thank you very much. Now, we ended last time with discovering that there is a piece of music, a lost symphony, which seems capable of raising chthonic beings, demons, creatures from some parallel universe. And it appears that there is some tension about whether this should or shouldn't be played in Vienna at a concert shortly. It's a complicated tale, but I think the bottom line is that that there is a pianist, a French pianist, Séraphine Durand, who is intended to play this lost symphony. The symphony is currently in the possession of the Soviet authorities. The team thought that they'd lifted it for a client, but it turned out they just got the folder, not the actual music. So as far as they know, the music is still in the possession of the Soviet authorities. But Seraphine is being blackmailed into, or that's what we've been told so far, into playing this piece of music because a Russian mobster, Boris Stepanovich, who is being played in our series by Brian Cox, that Boris is using Seraphine's sister Marguerite as leverage to get this piece of music played. He has an association with a faction in the Soviet sector of Vienna called the Red Warlocks. And I think I've added something to the NPC. The Red Warlocks, a radical branch of revolutionaries trying to call up chthonic forces to assist regime change in Europe. And it sounds like Vienna is going to be the experimental test bed for this. And I'm trying to remember, I can't remember exactly who got a whiff of what this would look like last time, but it was not a good thing. Where we left it, I think, was that Nico had put some pressure on a contact of his, Mrs. Mayer. Mrs. Mayer is part of a family, a well-connected Viennese family, and all she could tell him about Boris was that Boris has a standing reservation at a restaurant recently opened on the kind of boundary between the international center of Vienna and the French sector controlled by the French occupation forces, called Le Gourmand. And Boris has a standing reservation there once a week on a Thursday night, which is tomorrow night. I think that's the only lead so far you have, unless somebody wants to tell me different. Is that a fair summary? Yeah, I'll take that. But first, one of our characters took an advancement last time, and in this game, one of the things that goes along with an advancement is you develop an entanglement. This is an entanglement with either the Western or the Soviet occupation forces, and so Max and I have had a conversation about this, and we settled on a British entanglement. So I'd like to open with a scene. Where does this? I think you probably know this British officer, Nico, but he's never put any pressure on you. Maybe there is some relationship you've had, but now this is being formalized by him. Where do you normally meet him when you do? Do you just bump into him, or is there somewhere you meet?
I think last time we saw Nico playing chess with one of his contacts, with somebody from that rich Austrian family, and maybe that contact waits for Nico every time after his chess games. Like, he just turns around from his seat at the chess table, and then that person's sitting there on a bench waiting with a newspaper or something like that. You're muted, Alan.
There he is, Major Calloway, played today by Trevor Howard. Please do call me Percy Calloway. And Percy is sat on a park bench, as you describe, and as you turn away, you see him, and he just gestures, walk with me, Nico, walk with me.
Major, what can I do for you?
Well, just curious, really, Nico. I mean, we've had a whisper that there's that you're mixed up in some way with a certain Boris Stepanovich or his intentions. Is that at all the case?
Well, that sounds like gossip to me. Where did you hear something like that?
Yes, I thought you'd say that, Nico. Now, the fact is that we've got photographs of you and a bunch of your friends lifting something from the Soviet. You don't think that unexploded bomb was an accident, do you? So shall we cut to the chase here, Nico?
What do you want?
it would be very helpful to the government of my country if Mr. Stepanovich was put under a little pressure and perhaps became slightly more amenable to our approaches. So we would like to get some leverage, Nico, on friend Boris. And if indeed, as my information suggests, you are in some way currently involved with him, just bear that in mind, won't you?
If I were involved with him in any way, and if I had information on him, then I would not give up that information for free, would I?
Oh no, Nico. As in our previous arrangements, this would be entirely on a kind of quid pro quo basis. Always good to have a friend in the Western powers, don't you agree?
I think I might need something a little more concrete than a friend in the Western powers.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, Nico. When you have something on Comrade Stepanovich, let's have a chat and we'll talk about what I can offer you in return for what you can offer me. How does that feel? Fair's fair after all.
It sounds a little vague, but if I come to find some information on him, then sure, I will contact you.
Yes, the thing about Vienna these days, it's all terribly vague, isn't it, old chap? Anyway, toodle pip. Let's cut to just filling in some of the details about the relationship between Djinn Gil and the rest of the characters. So let me go to Djinn Gil. Tell us something about yourself, Gil. We know that you have this. We know your look, but there are some questions at the bottom called background questions. Let me go through them, and then we'll throw some relationships on the table, perhaps. So, how long have you been bound in this form and located in Vienna, Djinn Gil?
I've been here pretty much most of the war. I survived through being pretty much a smuggler with contraband, mainly black market food and this sort of things. Chocolate, silk, what they call stockings, and this sort of things. And I was there most of the time during the war. The person with my leash was a art collector, dealer, smuggler against stealer, and I was doing the biddings of that person during the war. And but at the end of the war, that person died in a bombardment, and within the wreckage of their building, one of like many. I hope it doesn't cross a line. Childs who were homeless in that part of the town, which was in ruins, picked up my leash, which is a smoking pipe carved in ivory, and became my current master. So I do the bidding of a child at the moment.
Would you be content if we left the identity of that 8-year-old boy vaguely loose?
Oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
Because we actually have an 8-year-old boy in play, and I just think it might be vaguely interesting to discover what playthings said young boy has, and so that's how long you've been here. Was that also so? Were you bound into this human form at the start of the war, or have you existed in this human form for longer than that?
I would say I've existed. Like I'm probably in my 50s, and I would have adopted that form when it was adolescent. So yeah, I've been around for a while under that form. So I'm a middle-aged, slightly older middle-aged man.
Okay. And there's an interesting question here about what happens when this human form dies. and what happens to the spirit of the Djinn. But hopefully we won't get that far. What petty ways do you find to rebel against those who hold your leash? I mean, what kind of things does this boy ask you to do?
Well, mainly towards the end of the war, I helped the child survive, which I was happy to. But then as a child, it can be capricious and maybe not understand its own interest or safety when doing those wishes. But I did what I always do with whoever holds my leash, which is to interpret what they want in a fashion which I find more accommodating with my own needs. It's especially happy. Well, not always, but sometimes it's tricky. But most of the time, it's somewhat made easier by the fact that it's a child. Sometimes it can be tricky because they are very capricious and nonsensical, childish things he wants. But most of the time, he's not as good at using words and the specifics, the almost legalese language you would use when you do a wish. To make sure that you get exactly what you want the way you want it. So I always cut the corners, find my ways, and I also keep myself, especially now, the best bits of things. Like if he needs food, if I find some caviar and good cigars and a good ham, I mean, some bread and eggs it's enough for my master. Why I can enjoy the finest things in life.
And I'm just curious, when this boy summons you, do you disappear from one place and appear in another place?
No. Personally, I would like. I find it's more interesting if it's much more low fantasy. So, the boy can prevent me from fleeing because the boy cannot destroy that object I'm binded to, but if they do stuff to that object, it can hurt me. Not physically, but I got the pain from it. So if the boy realized that at some point, so if I would try to run away, then the boy could just throw the pipe in a fire, and it would hurt me terribly.
I'm curious about is, how does he get you to come to him?
I think he would just have to touch the pipe in a certain way, and I know I can locate the pipe, so I will go towards him.
And if you don't, I think we'll probably treat that as some kind of role if you want to resist the summoning of the boy. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, again, I would say the boy knows that if he does something to the pipe, it hurts me. So there's no summoning per se, but he's got. It's like he would have a piece of me and he could hurt it at distance. So,
yeah. Okay.
So if someone, whoever does something to it, it's not that I'm possessed by it, but it would really hurt and it could be very dangerous for me not to answer the call, quite simply.
Fine. What beautiful hidden thing have you glimpsed in this city thanks to your elemental nature, which is air, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've seen some parts of the city which been laid to ruins by the war and remain so until to this day, I would think. Yeah, I wandered around them quite a lot, and I especially enjoyed climbing into the higher spots in those ruins, which is a bit risky, and just the solitude of these spaces, and you got the wind blowing through them. It's I find it very soothing. It sounds, I don't know, I find there's almost a sad song in the way it sounds, and the way it feels blowing on me and on the thing around me. It's like blowing on the ghost of whatever used to live in those standing carcasses of buildings. There are very cool series of photographs. I'm not sure "cool" is the right word because it's very sad what they show, but of derelict German towns after bombardments. I recommend people check them. Beautiful black and white shots from natural history museums and stuff like that, in which you see those cities and ruins, and it's very haunting and oddly beautiful in a odd sort of way.
No, I get that. And that gives us another side to Vienna, because we've talked about some of the ruins and we've talked about some of the structures, but we'll try to build on that. Okay, now you have a contact. You once spared someone you've been instructed to destroy, and they've now become important in Vienna. You have leverage over them. Who are they?
Among the wishes, capricious request from the child, one day, even before the Allied arrived, but as everything was in a mess, we ran into a rather young German soldier from the Wehrmacht, and that child, one of the things I guess he wants to do is sort of find his family or punish the people who made him an orphan of some kind, I would say, because he was scavenging in the ruins, and for some reason he considered that specific person to be one of his the person responsible. So the child asked me to kill that person, maybe not in those terms, in a more indirect fashion, and I twist things. It was sort of the person I attacked could clearly tell something fantastical was going on with my elemental thing, but I managed to not kill him, make it look like I did, and that person survives. So I suggested a name and maybe a position in Vienna right now, but it's just an idea I'm throwing.
Go with it.
So I was thinking that person could be called Frank Horst, and Frank Horst, at the moment, over time, would have become now a somewhat important figure in the local law enforcement.
Yeah. Okay. Now, most of the law, the official law, are 4 men in a jeep, one from each of the great powers. But I think that if you're content for Frank to be maybe he used to be a policeman, but he can't now be a policeman because Vienna doesn't have a local police force, but maybe he's working in the administration behind the law enforcement by the great powers. Is that okay? Yeah,
perfect.
Well, if you want to, because you have leverage on him, so if you look at the bottom of the character sheet under leverage, if you put his name in and allocate 1 leverage to him, then we'll know what's going on there. Yeah, and then we have a couple of relationship questions. So one of the player characters seems to exemplify the freedom you lack, Gilles. You can't tell if you're more envious of them or more attracted to them. Given what you've heard about the character so far, which one are you suggesting you should put in that slot?
I think Chaz would be an interesting one, because that's someone who comes from abroad, seems to have traveled the world as part of his service, and then decided, he had the agency to decide, I like Vienna, I'm going to stay here, which is something Grand Gilles didn't have for quite a long time. Maybe he traveled a tiny bit from Germany to Vienna, or from France to Vienna. We don't know at this point, but if he did so, it was following the person who had a hand on his leash. So I think Chaz would fascinate him quite a bit.
Does that work for you, Chaz?
That completely checks out, yeah.
Okay. And then another player character has sought to help you and suffered for it. Do you look at them with pity or hope? So which character do you have in mind?
I thought Pearl would be interesting. I find I don't know. I'm not quite sure, but the description of the golem from the statue, I thought it was sort of inspiring, both of strength and weakness at the same time. So I thought it could tie in nicely.
What do you think, Pearl?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay, so you've put Chaz and Pearl in. Just make a note of, in the case of Chaz, in the case of Pearl, do you look at them with pity or with hope? Yeah, just so we've got some idea of the nature of that relationship.
I say both.
Well, which one is preeminent?
Do you wish for one, Will? Do you find one more inspiring on your side?
I think either one could be interesting too. It's.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you kind of pity a being that was so constrained by their stone form? They're, not able to fly around like you are, bound to the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the earth elemental. I mean, she's not an earth. They're not a earth elemental, but that would speak the. It's almost the perfect opposite in my mind. With Chaz, which is that maybe not being unable to travel, but being unable to grow older, to change, something which will inspire me pity.
I'm curious though, Pearl, because it says has sought to help Grand Gil, and suffered for it. What, Pearl, did you do, and how did you suffer?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking about some concepts here.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, I would love a suggestion.
We've established you've got a soft spot for like orphans and homeless kids and stuff like that, right?
Right.
And the one holding his his leash is a kid like that.
Yeah.
Could it be?
It sounds like they're a kid that like really doesn't want any help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So have you tried, Pearl, to befriend Grand Gil's leash, and got stung for it?
Yeah, maybe. That sounds good.
Because at one point I was thinking maybe it was young France, but maybe it's another child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Callum, if you can just make a note of that, how Pearl sought to help and got stung for it, that would be helpful. And then, meanwhile, let us consider Chaz and Pearl. Where are the pair of you when this episode opens? Are you together or are you apart?
Well, I think I had went to meet with Piotr at the end of the last session. I think, was it him that pointed us at?
It was him who was pleased to see you, and I think it was him that mentioned Stepanovich, which is why Nico then followed with Mayor. I'm imagining that a bit of time has passed. It's tomorrow or it's tonight or whatever.
I mean, can this be? I mean, can we just kind of metagame this a little bit and say, Chaz comes back to Pearl and says, we're going to need heavier hitters than what we've got. We should go find Grand Gil and bring him in on this.
I think if you want to bring in Grand Gil, since you mentioned a fancy restaurant called Le Gourmand, so there's kind of French undertone over there. Maybe if you're looking at a way in or get intel on that restaurant, Grand Gil is one of the person who provide, things which are more difficult to come by in Vienna. which a fancy restaurant would wish to find in terms of ingredient. I mean, good luck finding some saffron, for instance. Grand Gil has made a specialty to meet the wishes of everyone.
Is there a dance floor in this fancy restaurant?
I don't know if I'd necessarily assume there would be. I don't see why there can't be.
Pearl, do you even eat?
No.
Oh, that is sad. You want to see some? Some fancy?
It seems like an unuseful tether to me.
Oh no, Pearl. No, it is. You know what? It's one of those things that, if you don't do it for too long, like if you don't do it, it hurts. But that means that when you do, it feels really good.
That makes no sense.
But look, Pearl, I'm telling you, you want to see some fancy lady hairstyles? You want to see some great hats? This is a place to go.
Will there be dancing?
Probably not. This is more of a, well, there'll be music, but it'll be there to accompany the meal. So this is the kind of place you go, Pearl. You're not just eating. It's a whole thing where the food looks a certain way and it tastes a certain way and there's music and it's all part of the package.
Grand Gil is so flighty, though.
Yeah, see, but that's one of the things I find appealing about him. Also,
yes, I can see that about you.
Escargot, Pearl. I wish I could share with you the glories of escargot.
All right, let's go.
So what is the plan? Now, you can't really make this plan in Checkpoint Midnight, because that you set one of the rules is you can't plot dangerous, potentially violent stuff here. So who's got the nicest apartment?
Not Pearl.
Oh,
No.
I mean, can't we just do it at the restaurant?
Oh, so just turn up the restaurant. I think given that this place, Boris gets a table here because he books every week. I think there may need to be a little bit of work done to actually get a table in there on the night in question. It's not like you're booking a week ahead here. So who's best placed to leverage or otherwise this table for 4 unusual looking characters?
I mean, it's like it's Callum's set that he created. So it seems like Grand Gil, knows his way around there and stuff.
So Gilles, how do you go about getting? What's the name of the proprietor of Le Gourmand?
It would be Isadore.
Fine. So Isadore is proprietor, maitre'd, who knows? But he is the man with the table plan. So Gilles, how are you going to ensure that you four have access to a table in the restaurant on the evening that Boris has his set reservation?
Okay. So I'm gonna contact Isidore and tell him that for fall, I do know it's fall. You want to have some nice wood mushrooms for your dishes, something seasonal. So I'm gonna tell him that I've got some contacts with people who are harvesting such mushrooms. in a nice little forest, not too far from Vienna, which turns out not to be pine trees for once. So they should have some decent mushrooms there. And I leverage the fact that I could get him these if he gets me and some of my friends a table. We will be paying for the meal and everything. We just need a booking.
When you make a stand to sway someone to your cause, I think is the basic move this comes closer to.
Before there's something I'd like to do. I want to ask Nico, Chaz, and Will. So you want to go to that restaurant? You wish you could eat to that restaurant in an evening soon, do you?
Oh yeah, this place
Great.
is amazing. Yeah, oh yeah.
Just to be clear, are you bringing Gil in on the question of it has to be on Thursday night when Boris Stepanovich is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. I mean, if everyone else is cool with that, I mean, just as players, just saying that we've read him in on what's going on, and we can.
I think that makes sense.
Cut him in for whatever the payoff is on it.
I think on a really Djinn tradition, I would work towards granting them their wish, but it would be like in the darkest, loosiest corner of the restaurant. Maybe it's from a height or something like that, but it's actually it's not even a regular table. It might be a table set just for us, but so it's not exactly what they wanted.
Let me just be clear then. Are all four of you aiming to be at the table? Is there anybody out front, anyone out back, or are you gonna run the op, however it falls out from the table? I just want to be clear about that. Okay. So and Nico, you've not said anything in a while. I just want to check in. Is that what you're imagining this unfolding with you in the restaurant where you can see what unfolds with Boris?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good way to get in trouble here.
Okay.
Words to inspire confidence by Alan.
Just checking in. So this is, you are granting a wish to Chaz and the others in setting up this table. So you are rolling to make a stand to sway Isadore to your way of thinking. So you're rolling plus Dreamer with advantage. So you roll 3 dice and take the top 2, or roll 2 dice and re-roll the lower one. I have put a roll for your party up, but if you want to use your own dice, that's fine by me.
I've not clicked the link to roll your party yet. So okay, so what do I roll? I got 2 blue d6 dice.
So if you roll those, and then you can re-roll the lower one.
Okay.
And then re-roll the 1.
Oops.
Okay, so we're looking at 8 plus Dreamer. What is Gilles' Dreamer?
Dreamer, it's 3.
Well, what do you know? So on a 10 plus, if they don't follow your lead, they have to show more of themselves than they want and lower their guard. I think that it'd be interesting to engage with the lower your guard mechanic, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that Isadore says, look, it's our busiest night. Words got out. There are, people just know that's the night to come. So I can't just give you a table. Now, when you lower your guard in a moment of intimacy with someone, choose one. So Isadore reveals a secret, and you would gain leverage. Isadore starts to care too much. No, I don't think that. It doesn't really play as an NPC, does it? That move. I don't think I've got an option but to have Isadore roll over. I'm afraid. I think that lower your guard move only really plays as a PC. So yeah, no, he'll get you in. Yeah, he'll find you a table. It will be by the entrance to the kitchen. Far away from the dance floor, far away from the cabaret singer and the band. But at least the food will be hot. Is there anything anyone wants to do? Let's go around the table and say, Nico, is there anything you want to do before we cut to the restaurant?
Nope, don't have anything specific.
Pearl?
No.
Okay. And Chaz?
No, I think I'm gonna you know what? I'm gonna skip lunch that day. That's what I'm gonna do.
Pro will also skip lunch that day.
Yeah, Pearl will even not watch people eating that lunchtime. Okay, look, it's 5 to the hour. I'm going to suggest we take our first take a 10-minute break now. Back at our seats at 5 past the hour. Yeah, I'll see you then. Just you and me, Max.
Seems like it.
We'll give him a minute.
Yep, sure.
You fool, I'm lurking in the shadows.
Okay, well, we'll expect Jim in a moment. So yeah, let's cut to the restaurant. It is packed. Of course it is. Apart from one table. The best table in the house. It's just in the center, next to the dance floor. It has a good view of the little stage where there's a microphone and a drum set up. Nico, what tells you this is kind of neutral ground? It may be a French restaurant, but it's neutral ground for the great powers.
Could be as simple as the the menu being multilingual, but it's a little boring, maybe.
That works.
That's a little boring. I don't know. Could be that they're, instead of it just being multilingual, that the food on offer, there's always one thing that is specific to that country, like a common British dish, a prominent American dish, and so on.
Yeah, no, that works. So there is the menu, but then there's a little flag next to three items on the menu: one for our American friends, one for our British friends, one for our Soviet friends. Pearl, what is the most fascinating thing? Because we know Pearl's a people watcher.
The most fascinating thing. I think it is, to Pearl anyway, it's that although it is a neutral ground and there are people from everywhere here, somehow their sense of style, their sense of dress seems very aligned.
Right. So this is more about a certain class or slice of the society than any national differences. Okay, no, I like that. Because that makes it difficult to tell them apart. You know, who are the Viennese? Who are the Russians? Who are the Americans? Who are the Brits? As you are contemplating that, Pearl, you can see that the doors swing open, and in comes this burly man in a, we've just said that he could pass for any nationality, but there's something fundamentally Russian about him. Is it his build? Is it the way that he looks? And he has a very attractive young woman on his arm, and he's accompanied by 4 large minders. And he and the young woman are seated at this table, this best table in the house. And the minders distribute themselves around the room. So one might be sat at the bar, one goes and loiters by the door in, one is over near you by the kitchen door, which is probably the back way out. And one of them is located just beside the stage where they can see the restaurant. Yeah? This is Boris Stepanovich. And on his arm is a young woman that I don't think anyone recognizes yet. But there, in the same way there is something fundamentally Russian about him, there is something fundamentally French about her. Yeah. What do you do? Chaz. Oh, Jim's just gone. So let's say, what do you do, Nico?
So they just sat down, basically, right?
Yeah.
You said one of the guards or whatever they are is close to us.
Yeah. He's just watching the back exit or entrance, depending on which way you come.
Okay. But they're not... Okay, they're watching the exit. Okay. Does it seem like they're armed?
I think that might be a call for a... where's it gone? Decipher. When you take time to decipher a personal situation, say what you're using, natural or supernatural sense, and then roll with operator or fable. Operator if you're just using your kind of eyes on, or are you kind of sending those old supernatural senses out there, Nico?
I'm just operating.
Fine.
I roll my physical dice.
Okay.
Oh, that doesn't look good. That's a 3 and a 1 plus 2, which is a 6.
Oh, well, mark experience. You know, everyone's a winner. I'm going to say you are absolutely confident that they are not armed. No, I'm going to say you're absolutely confident they are armed. And what's more, he's looking at you, looking at him. What do you do, Nico?
I think he does like the tip the hat motion, even though he's not wearing a hat, and goes back into whatever the charade at the table is, us eating or pretending to talk.
And he comes to the table and he says in a thick Russian accent, pointing at Nico, "Don't I know you?"
No. I wouldn't know from where.
Well, I'm watching you anyway.
Good for you.
And he goes back to his station watching the kitchen door near you. I think that it's pretty clear that he is watching you and your table. Who does what next?
I'm gonna stand up and walk towards Boris with a bottle of wine in hand.
Okay. Bold move. As you get close to the table, the guy at the bar and the guy near the stage run an intersecting route to arrive between you and Boris.
Okay, I slow down, trying to be unthreatening despite my stature, and I show my bottle of wine, and I say, and I wave at the table. I say, Monsieur, you seem somehow vexed by my friends. I think it should be that way. Why don't you share a glass of wine with me? It's a very good one. It's not on top of the menu, but I can tell you what it lacks in price, it has in taste.
I think this is when you make a stand to sway someone to your cause.
Okay.
Because you're appealing to Boris here, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it mislead, distract, or trick?
Well, it seemed like an honest offer. Are you trying to create cover here, Grand Gilles, for something else?
No, I'm trying to ease the mood and see what happens. So I'm offering some wine.
Okay. Roll a dice. Plus streamer is 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
What have we got?
Up. Who?
So close.
4.
On a hit, you command their attention. So Boris looks up from a conversation he's having with this attractive young woman. He looks up at you. So you have his attention. On 7 to 9.
So 7, yeah, I got 7. Rolled 4 plus 3 in Dreamer.
The move then, when he talks about PCs, I think on a 7 to 9, he nods to one of the men who holds out a hand to take the bottle from you.
I don't let it go. I intended a sharing, not giveaway.
This is not going well. You can hand over the bottle. So the hard choice is hand over the bottle or be sent on your way.
I'm going to be sent on my way, and I shrug my... Yeah.
Okay. And
you're lost, huh?
And you can see Isadore looking at you, saying, "Get away! You know, it's my best customer. Get away!" And Isadore comes and he's, Mr. Stepanovich, I'm so sorry that you were disturbed by this person. Please, well, what can I get? And so on. Chaz, what are you doing as you've observed these so far slightly unsuccessful ways of getting close to Boris?
Well, while while everyone's, focused on Boris and Boris is focused on them and stuff like that, this is where I just am, walking over to the table. And as I do, I just, I'm literally just dropping a note to what's her name?
Who you take to be Marguerite Durand.
Marguerite, yes.
The hostage.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you're not aiming to engage with Boris at all. You're walking past the table and slipping a note, yeah?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now you have a move for this, don't you?
Well, sort of. So I'm wondering whether I might be able to use my move kind of in reverse.
Go on.
The way that my move works is, so I've got something called Ledger Domain. When you take advantage of a distraction to liberate the personal effects of an individual or a crowd, roll plus operator. On a hit, you pick as many pockets as you like. And then I choose what happens. And I'm wondering, would that let me plant something on someone as well as...
Yeah, and I think just to slightly retro this, perhaps Gilles' distraction opens the window for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not unreasonable for you to put something in a pocket.
Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll plus operator. I've just got my regular dicey dice here. Oh no! What the hell is going on with this game tonight? I had +3, but I rolled 3. So
mark experience.
I will. I'll do that. On a miss, you still pocket some loot, but someone catches you red-handed. Prepare for the worst.
Yeah, and I think that as you slip your hand towards her handbag, perhaps, Boris just grabs your wrist.
Uh-huh.
And of course, he thinks you're pickpocketing this, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Do you still drop the note in there, or do you kind of crunch it into your palm?
No, what I do is, brother, you caught me red-handed, and I just hold the note between 2 fingers, and it says, "Find an excuse to go to the powder room." Written on it, and I say, I couldn't help myself. I just wanted an introduction. I mean, look at her.
I think I'm going to trigger establish your bona fides, because if I read the rules right, either you or I can trigger establish your bona fides. When you meet an important NPC for the first time, you or the MC can choose one from this list. If either of you do so, the other can choose one. So I'm going to choose, they've heard unsettling rumors about you, true or false, Chaz. Things could get messy. And he looks up at you and he says, Mr. Charles. Which one do you choose?
Oh, I know this type well.
Take advantage on your first move targeting them.
Yeah.
I've heard some things about you and a certain undersecretary, Mr. Chaz,
Well,
a
half of,
certain cultural attaché, Mr. Chaz.
and I say to him, half of everything you've heard about me is true. It's just figuring out which half.
Why the note?
Have you seen her? And like, I kind of like do like a picture. I make like a picture frame. She shouldn't be on your arm, my friend. She should be in a museum.
Mr. Charles, I think you've probably had enough to eat this evening. I think it's time for you to leave the restaurant.
Oh, is it going to be like that? Is that how this is going to go?
And you can see him just raising an eyebrow at Isadore. He's a regular customer. You're not. I think if it comes to that, I think Isadore won't get in the way, is what I think he's telegraphing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to respond, Chaz?
I put a hand on her shoulder and I say, well, as long as the lady is here freely of her own free will. And I kind of I look to her like, I'll take you out of here if you want me to.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm trying to work out which move I could use for this. I think you would have to convince her to take that risk.
Yeah, I think I'm making a stand with her, I think, is probably the thing that makes sense. Yeah. So that is plus Dreamer.
It is.
Which is flat, I think, for me. Let me take a look and make sure. Hang on. Yeah, Dreamer's flat. Can someone give me a hand on this?
There is aid or interfere. When you provide aid or run interference, mark a stress to give a PC advantage or disadvantage on a roll. I think Gilles' distraction has already given you the window to get involved in this little fracas, so I don't think that one's still running. Pearl, what do you do? What do you do? Is this just an example of these fascinating humans doing fascinating human things, or not?
I feel like if we make a show, I don't want to say show of force, but if we make it clear that we can handle like the bodyguards, that may give her the confidence to go with us.
I mean, Gilles is just...
Well, hang on. I asked Pearl.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think Pearl would. I think I'll actually stand and walk to the table as I see this whole thing going down.
I'll be honest with you. I think that given Nico's interaction with the one nearest you, that goon will get up and stand between you and Mr. Stepanovich.
All right.
Now, that doesn't mean you still can't aid or interfere by causing some distraction or, backing Chaz up in some way. But I don't think you're going to get as far as the table without having to do something.
Okay. And I'll put a hand up between the two of us. I'll say, it must be terribly confining to adhere so rigidly to your direction that you've been given. Do you ever feel as though you were meant for something more, comrade?
I think he just looks quizzically at you. And do you say this loud enough for the restaurant to hear?
No, just more for him.
I'm struggling to see how that's going to help Chaz at the table. So let me come to Nico. Nico, is there anything? Pearl is occupying the one who is watching your table. Chaz, it looks like he's trying to convince Marguerite to make a run for it. What do you do, Nico?
I feel like if I get up, that guard, even if Pearl is talking to him, is gonna jump probably. So I'm not sure what to do here. I think Nico is just waiting for a chance to act. But
okay, Gilles, you are halfway back to your table. So we have the table you've been sitting at. We have Pearl standing with a Soviet goon in her face. We have you coming back to that table, and we have Chaz at the central table imploring Marguerite to make a run for it. What do you do, Gilles?
So would I have overheard Charles or somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I go back to Charles, put a hand on his shoulder. My friend.
If you go back to the main table, you still have the two goons who were blocking your way.
Okay,
so you won't get to Charles, but you will get to them.
I go to them. I still got my bottle of wine, and I speak with my loud French accent and French manners, so Marguerite can maybe identify that we share some things in common. And I start saying, my friends, fighting like that over a woman. We've been through very difficult time with the war. I mean, I remember having to fight over a piece of bread one day. And as I say that, I sort of hold the bottle as a somewhat beginning to be threatening fashion. And I remember this man, and he just wouldn't share, you know, and I had someone to feed and had to punch and punch and punch again this man. I got blood all over my hands.
I think if you want to mark stress, that will count as aid for Chaz. So Chaz, which of those dice would you like to re-roll?
Question, could this trigger a move?
Well,
okay.
You are triggering a move. It's aid or interfere with Chaz. I think that was what his appeal was for, so I'm going to stick with that. So Chaz, what do you do?
I'm going to roll to try and convince her.
Yeah.
So I'm rolling. It's a flat roll, but I'm rolling with advantage. So I'm going to roll 3 dice and take the 2 highest. That's an 8.
So on a 7 to 8, you command their attention, and I think she begins to get up. At which point, Boris will hit you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So resort to violence, I think, is where we're at, and we'll see how far this ripples out.
Oh no, this is not resort to violence. So if he takes a swing at me,
yeah.
I'm just gonna just duck back, tuck my arm around her, yank the tablecloth off as I, sweep her along, and let my friends start throwing punches as I just get her out of there.
Right. So this is get in or get out.
Get in or get out. Yep. In this case, I'm getting out.
And I think this is there's no sneaking about this, is there?
No, this is breaking. Yeah.
So roll plus weapon.
But I know this guy, like I know his type.
Yeah.
So can I get the advantage for that?
You can.
Yeah.
'Cause
All
this
right. Cool.
first roll you've made on him.
Getting away from him. Yeah. Cool. So rolling with advantage, I got +1. Oh, God. 5 + 1 is 6. Getting the XP.
Oh wow, yeah. You lot are going to be getting advances like fun. So I think that goes badly, and I think you are in resort to violence now. Yeah, she is free. You know, you whipped her around, but as you turn to go with her, 2 large gangster hands on your shoulder bring you back, and he goes for you. Let me ripple this out. Gilles, the 2 goons, you've seen this going on behind their back. Their focus is on you. What do you do, Gilles?
Question. I don't know if it's possible, but as part of what's going to follow, I was wondering if the little story I was telling could trigger red in my ledger, which is a playbook move, which if it succeeds might grant me advantage to what will follow.
Why don't you read us the move and we'll make a table decision?
Yep. When you reveal something terrible you were made to do in the past, roll plus weapon. On a hit, it's good to get this off your chest. Clear a condition or take advantage on your next roll.
Yeah, you've said enough. So roll with weapon.
Okay. All right, so that's a 4. That's a 5, which is not very impressive. On a miss, you've dredged up an old ghost. Expect someone affected to crash back into your life soon.
It is too much not to have one of the American officers at a table next to Boris get to his feet and say, I remember you, and I remember you stealing that fucking bread. And he launches himself at you. We'll deal with that in a moment. Nico, you were waiting for an opening.
Yeah, I would like to stop that American officer from attacking him, and maybe that's somebody that I keep meeting. Could be my gotta start meeting like this move, which is when you first encounter an NPC, rather than establish your bona fides, you may declare them an old friend and roll plus operator. Or they
I'm happy to see these rolls cascade out like a wall of chaos.
Okay, I'll roll my dice. Let's see. Barely. That's 8.
So, on a hit, they offer you comfort and aid, even if it exposes them to danger or retribution. On a 7 to 9, tell the MC why they have leverage over you. So, why does Captain McKay have leverage over you, Nico?
I think he just gave me some information at some point.
Fine. Will you put that down at the bottom of your character sheet under the leverage section? But when you stand up and say McKay, he's in mid launch at Gilles, and he's distracted for a moment. Gilles, I'll come back to ask you what you do with that moment in a moment. Pearl, the goon in front of you is spinning on his heel to where the center of chaos is. What do you do?
So he's not paying attention to me anymore.
It appears no, because you're an alabaster-skinned young woman.
Uh-huh. All right.
And he's a sexist Russian thug.
Perfect. So what if I run up to Marguerite? Can I get to her?
Okay, yes. So this sounds like you're trying to get in or get out with Marguerite in tow. So this is, I think you are trying to sneak, unless you tell me different. Do you barge past him or do you slide past him? That's plus weapon or plus operator.
Yeah, I think Pearl is not an operator, so she's going
Bang!
for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe knock him down on the way or something. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
So, roll plus weapon.
Yeah, let's cockeyed. 9.
9. On a 7 to 9, you leave something important behind or take something difficult with you. You have Marguerite by the hand running for the front door or the back door.
The back door.
The difficult thing you have with him is, having knocked past him, he then gathers himself and he's chasing you.
Yep.
So Marguerite and Pearl are exiting through the kitchen with a thug in pursuit. Nico has distracted Captain McKay long enough for Djinn Gil to have a window of opportunity. What do you do with the window of opportunity, Djinn Gil?
The window of opportunity is only against the captain.
The captain or the 2 Russians in front of you.
Okay.
Or it could be just run for it. You have a window.
I'm gonna hit.
No one is currently throwing a punch at you.
I'm gonna smash one of the Russians with the. I'm gonna smash the red wine bottle on the head of one of the Russians.
So I finally get to resort to violence. Okay. When you resort to violence against a foe who can retaliate, roll plus weapon.
7, 8.
Okay. So on a hit, exchange blows. So I think you smash the bottle across his head and he punches you. I think that probably you each take a point of stress. So mark stress. On 7 to 9, choose 1. Oh, there's an instead of exchange your blow. Sorry. I should have looked more carefully. So don't mark that stress till you've made a pick from the list.
Oops. Resort to violence. I'm tempted to. I put my foe on the ropes and the next PC to target them as advantage.
Okay, so he's reeling from having been hit by the bottle, but you do indeed mark stress.
Yeah.
Chaz, we've worked our way back to the center of the ripples you have set in motion. Marguerite is on her way to the door with Pearl. Boris still has you by the hand, by the wrist. What do you do?
Hands off the suit, comrade. And if he's got me like by the right wrist, I just kind of like, there's just like a little flick, and I'm holding, the straight razor in my other hand, and I just run it across his. I just want to try and run it across his wrist.
Okay, and as I
not not like lay open an artery that will have him dead, but make a mess, have him pull back, stuff like that. Yeah, just a little something to remember me by.
So when you resort to violence using a notably older type weapon, roll with advantage.
I'm going to do just that. Right. So,
plus weapon with advantage.
So as part of when I advanced, I added +1 to my labels and switched them around a little.
Okay.
So I've got weapon of 2 right now.
What immense foresight.
Rolling with advantage, adding 2. There we go.
Okay, so you can exchange blows, but then check out the bullet points under resort to violence.
Yeah. I do not end up entangled with him or caught.
Fine. So that's, you get to choose 2 on 10 plus.
And I'm going to take something away from him.
Like? Marguerite's already in motion.
Marguerite's in motion? Yeah, I come in. and you know, I'm gonna get hit here, right? So like whatever, like I slash his wrist, he lets go of me, and then whatever, when he throws a punch at me or whatever, I take it, but kind of like put my hands against his chest as I do, and I've got his wallet.
Very good, very good. So mark stress for the punch. He's clutching his wrist and not worrying about not noticing his wallet is gone. Let me come round. I think probably.
You want me to just mark stress or to roll take serious harm?
No, I don't think you're taking serious harm
Okay.
at this point.
Right.
I think that's for. I've been reading about that, and I think I need to really telegraph. This could get very nasty.
Got it.
So let's leave it at.
And let me ask one question, which is one of my release moves is that thrill seeker. Make things harder for yourself in order to look dashing. Have I triggered that here? I
think so. Okay, I think just convincing the hostage to walk away is quite a dashing effort.
Yeah. All right, cool.
And can I remind the other players, if you think you hit a release move, nudge me because I'm not looking at them. Let me go. I think we know Pearl's in motion to the door with Marguerite. There is a goon at the door, Pearl, just so you don't forget that one. Nico, McKay stopped when he looked at you. You've now given him leverage. What do you do having distracted him? Do you continue with that engagement with him, or there are still two goons facing Gilles and Boris, who is just clutching his hand?
Okay, so Gilles got 2 on him right now.
Yeah. One of them is kind of... So someone would have advantage against him.
Oh, I'm really not good at weapons. But sure. I think I'm just gonna, at this point, like, if I can get at him from behind, I don't know, maybe I can intimidate him instead. Like if I put my knife to his throat from the back. I don't know what that would be though. Is there a thing for that? Intimidation?
Well, there's when you get spooky by letting out your inhuman side to intimidate someone, reshape your environment, or overcome an obstacle, roll plus fable.
Mm-hmm.
There is when you make a stand to sway someone to your cause. Doesn't quite work, but threatening him enough to get him to step away might apply there.
I think then instead of doing it with the knife, I'm thinking I'll do the get spooky move.
Okay, let the blood run.
Mm-hmm. I think in the first session we already had the eyes, Nico's eyes turning somewhat red and like bloodshot, and I think I'm just staring him down at this point, trying to
roll plus fable.
Yep. It's a 6. I think I got a 2 on fable, so 8.
On a hit, the world warps to your will. So what do we see him doing when you give him the eyes?
I think it's almost like he's shrinking, not physically shrinking, but his stature, he just kind of crumbles.
Yeah.
And is intimidated at that point.
He is intimidated out of the fight. On a 7 to 9, choose 2.
These are always bad. To keep your sanity fully intact, so I mark stress, and I think I become a target.
Oh yes, I think Boris remembers your name, and I think representatives of all 4 great powers in the room recognize you as a threat or potential asset. Yeah. Just the kind of chap that they would want to recruit. Pearl, I misremembered, you're going for the back door. There is a goon at the front door. So, Pearl, we see you kind of dragging Marguerite through the kitchen, I guess. Yeah? With a goon in pursuit. What's the plan, Pearl? You are muted.
I'm so muted. Sorry. So no, get out is the plan, right? And so I'm bringing her along and at the same time trying to convince her, that this is the way, right? I have her interests at heart, right? We're here for you, and come quickly. We'll get through this.
I mean, are you actually giving her a choice, i.e., by letting go of her wrist?
No.
Okay, right. So there's this interchange between you dodging chefs and cooks and pans, burning pans, and her kind of. While you say, it's fine. It's just don't worry, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Maybe tossing over a boiling pot on the goon that's following behind.
Oh well, I was going to ask about the goon following behind. So what is that? What are you trying to do? Is this a resort to violence in the hope that you might, I don't know, put your foe on the ropes?
Yeah, I suppose so.
So I think I probably see you swinging her around in front of you and then just flicking this pan of hot water in the path of the goon.
Yep.
Let's see how your resort to violence goes. Roll plus weapon.
Oh, 12.
This was bound to start going better sooner or later, wasn't it? So you can choose to exchange blows, inflicting harm as appropriate, and it looks like you can then choose one of them, which is instead of exchanging blows. But there are some bullets there. Which are your chosen 2 bullets, and then we'll work back to harm.
You and your friends. So I definitely want to put him on the ropes.
Okay.
And I'm going to say we'll do the instead of exchanging blows, because I don't really care about the entanglement or the taking something away from them at the moment.
So rather than choosing that you don't end up entangled with them or caught, I could then say that you are caught.
It caught. I didn't read through. Okay. No, I actually am going to take that.
Okay. So then you do take a point of stress because he throws a pan at you as well. And you're out in the alleyway. Quite what's happened to him, we don't know. We know he's on the rope, so you bought some time. Chaz, which way are you running? Front door or back door?
Oh, I'm going to go right out the front, with Boris in pursuit.
Remember, there is one goon at the front door.
Oh, there's a goon at the front door.
The goon watching the kitchen, the back entrance, has gone into the kitchen in pursuit of Pearl.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of like I've gotten rid of Boris, and I go, and I say to the guy at the front door, you just gonna let him take his girlfriend like that?
This sounds like distract or trick.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to just confuse him, just kind of bamboozle him here. So I'm gonna roll plus operator, which is plus three for me. 7 plus 3 gets me to 10.
On a hit, they are fooled, at least for the moment. On 10 plus, choose 3. Wow.
Definitely keep them confused for more than a moment or two. Don't have to throw someone else under the bus. Oh no. Yeah, don't have to throw someone else under the bus and create an opportunity for myself for another granting advantage. I don't need leverage here.
Okay, so that all goes very well, because he kind of looks at you and he double takes as if to say,
I'm like,
should I be worried?
Hooking a thumb over my shoulder like, he's going to be pissed if she gets away. Yeah.
heading to where Nico and Gilles asked. Boris has gone off in the direction of Chaz, so you have one kind of kind of distracted by the blow to the head. You got one scared witless. Gilles, what do you do next?
First of all, would you say I showed off to impress someone insufficiently in awe of me?
Yeah, I'm prepared to do that.
That's a release.
I think Marguerite is impressed by you.
Ooh.
Because she just thought you were a bit boorish when you came up to the table, I think. But I think now she thinks you're quite a hero.
I'm just gonna try to. So who's within the confrontation with me with those Russians?
Okay, you have one guy who's still nursing his head, so
Yeah.
you have advantage against him because you hit him with a bottle. He's on the ropes. We have the other one who is confronting you, who is scared shitless of Nico, and is on the ropes for that reason. So you have advantage against either of those. Captain McKay, however, is still in play.
I'd like to flee. If I can help Nico follow suit, I will.
Okay, so Gilles, the front door where Chaz went, or the
kitchen.
back door, fine. So follow Pearl into the kitchen. I'm not going to make you roll. I'll just take that into the fact that you had advantage over the one that you hit with a bottle. Nico, you have advantage over the one that you hit with the gaze. What do you want to do with that advantage? Engage or run?
I was thinking of running and maybe walking past Boris. I want to mark him.
Okay, Boris is too important to be running for the door. In fact, he is probably yelling at the goon who is running towards him, saying, "No, that's him!" Yeah, so you're going to try and mark Chaz. Gilles, you're going to run into the kitchen where a recovering goon that Pearl left in her wake is just shaking the kind of hot water off himself. He is on the ropes and you have advantage against him in your first action. What do you do, Gilles?
I grab one of the flower arrangements on the table and say, "Oh, it seems like you're burning," and I throw the water of the flowers on him while passing him by.
So is this an effort to get in or get out without having to engage with him?
Get out.
Is it
Get out.
trick or distract? I'm not quite certain. I think it's trick or distract because it is about escaping the scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see if he is sufficiently distracted. Roll plus operator.
Operator. Oops. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. Seven, 8.
8. On a hit, they are fooled at least for the moment. So he's kind of distracted by the bottle. Did you roll with advantage then?
Oh no.
Then re-roll your lowest dice because Pearl left him at a disadvantage for you.
Yeah, it's not higher.
Okay. So they are fooled for a moment. So you have distracted them. On a 7 to 9, choose 2 from the list. You expose a weakness or secret, gain leverage. You create an opportunity for yourself or another, granting advantage. You definitely keep them confused for more than a moment or two. You don't have to throw someone else under the bus.
I would say I create an opportunity for Nico to pass him by as he's distracted with the flowers and the water in his face.
You can choose 2 though.
Oh, sorry. Then the second one would be. Is there one you find more logical yourself?
I suppose if you don't have to throw someone else under the bus, that would avoid Nico having to roll. But
Yeah.
Nico actually is going the other direction.
Oh,
Nico's heading for the front door where Boris is headed.
I mean, I guess I gain leverage then because I will remember this embarrassing moment for him, for this person. So I can always say, hey, remember when that happened?
Yeah, I think that's fine. So mark him down as Boris's goon and give yourself leverage over him. And then you're out in the alleyway pursuing Pearl. We'll worry about that in a moment. Nico, the only person left in the restaurant. What do you do?
Yeah, I was going for Boris, trying to mark him. If I'm reading this right, it's not even a roll. It's just something I do while taking a condition.
Yeah, that looks like it. When you sprinkle the still warm blood on someone or something, choose up to 2. I think that's done. You can mark him with blood, but you are going to have to get past the goon who is running towards him and therefore towards you. So how are you going to get past the final goon?
He is in front of the front door, basically. I think I'm just going to bum rush him, try to break through at this point. So I'm getting out with weapon. Great. That's going to go great. Let's see. That's a 5. You're muted, Alan.
Mark experience, but I think you can't get past him. He will resort to violence against you. Yeah? So you will have to roll plus weapon and try to get away from him.
Sure. That worked so well the last time.
It did. What could go wrong?
That's a 4. Hey, that's more XP. I was
going to say, mark experience. Have you got up far enough to actually have gained another really useful move that might get you out of this mess?
I think 1.
I think he is going to. I think you are going to take serious harm now. I think that he, you missed him. He blindsided you. This kind of enormous Soviet workers' fist. Just so when you take serious harm, roll plus stress. What is your current stress?
1.
1. So roll plus 1.
Plus 1, so 9.
9. On 7 to 9, you take your licks. Choose 1. Grit your teeth and push through. Mark 2 stress. Something in you breaks. Mark a condition. Give ground so the opposition gets a juicy opportunity. On 13 plus, your number's up. Oh, well. It's not that.
So what did he do? He just knocked me over, basically.
I think you probably leaned one way thinking you would get past him, and you leaned into this fist, and he just...
Okay, I think then it makes sense if I take a condition here.
Okay.
In America, we would say he walloped you.
So which condition?
I marked blunted. I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And what blunted does is gives you -2 to weapon. That's going to make no difference to you. So yeah, you take that and you stumble past him into the outside. Chaz, are you still there?
No way. I'm up out, and I have like as I'm up, I'm out the door into the street, and there's a delivery truck driving by.
Surely.
And I just
No. I refuse not to have that flashy red sports car in this scene.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. My sports car is sure. My car's on the yeah. Okay, absolutely. My car is in the is parked out front.
So you're leaping into that at the same moment.
Yeah, and I kind of like that. Like somewhere between the last time we saw the car and this time, it's now got diplomatic plates on it that it didn't have last time, which is why I'm allowed to park it like right in front of the restaurant. So
in fact, in front of a large black Zill, with Russian consular plates.
Mm-hmm.
So we see you leaping into the car. we see Pearl and Marguerite coming up the alley onto this street, this front street, followed by Gilles.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna pull, I'll pull forward the 20 feet to get to where the alley is, and and I'm doing that thing where I'm like, reaching over to push the door open.
And I think that will give Nico time to leap at the wheel on the back of the thing as you pull away. Yeah. And then we will see Boris and his cohorts stumbling out of the restaurant, and he says the Russian equivalent of "follow that car," and they pile into the Zill and are in pursuit. I think at that point we would have a commercial break. Yeah. 5 minutes long enough? Back in our seats about 6 minutes past the hour? See you then. Yeah, we'll have to have a scene where, in the moonlit streets of Vienna, this bright red sports car roars across the cobblestones, squealing through squares, right angle turning round fountains, abandoned dry fountains, pursued by this blocky Zil. How shall we handle this? I guess I have to ask the simple question to Chaz is whether you are driving using get in and get out, whether you are trying to throw them off your trail with distract or trick, or are you getting spooky?
I
can't think of anything else that might apply.
Well, I mean, I can summon my birds. Just not good at getting terribly good at getting spooky.
I mean, you could. I mean, it's getting spooky is a bit like unleash your power in masks, isn't it? So you could indeed have a load of starlings just fall on the Zil or.
Yeah. So if I can get some help from Djinn Gil to get to get some favorable winds that will help my whatever, this flock of ravens that I'm going to bring down.
Do you wish there were more birds in the area?
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Do you say that out loud?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because you have a thing there. That's right. Yeah.
Why have a genie and not wish?
Exactly. We're driving, and I look over to my passenger, and I say, "You're gonna want to hang on, darling." And I kind of like cast I look up to the sky, and I say, I sure wish there were a bunch of birds around right now. They'd sure come in handy.
And Djinn Gil look at you and like, you read too many fairy tales. I don't have this kind of power.
And I say, oh yeah, and I laugh, and I'm like, my friend the genie says I read too many fairy tales.
Because
magic.
Technically, this works as advantage to Gilles to grant it, doesn't it? So Gilles, how are you going to conjure some birds?
I was thinking maybe I mean.
So here's the thing. I'm just looking to get advantage on my roll. So if it's as simple as like he narrates it and marks a stress, like that seems like.
I think that's the way to do this. Because unless you can think of a way that you want, unless Gilles, you want to engage with that move, you can't just mark stress and have some winds blow some birds across Vienna.
So what I'm gonna say is. That reminds me, and I start telling the story of that the first time I met my owner, one of my the people who had a leash on me, and he kept wishing for stuff to happen which were way beyond what I can do. And I sort of framed someone to make it look like I framed some magician, but theater magician, into doing something to impress, to grant that wish while it being an illusion.
Now, you're triggering red in my ledger here again, but the fact is that is still not going to give Chaz advantage on his roll unless you can turn this into something that generate, because the aid or interfere is a simple take stress.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You do not have to aid or interfere. You can engage with a move, but the move we're currently in is, can Chaz stay ahead of that Zil?
Okay. So if it was something more mundane, which was a load I would have said that I revealed from under my coat. I had stolen a large bread from the restaurant, the kitchen, when we run through it, because I always steal food, and I start breaking it in crumbs and throwing it, and you see the car passing through a group of pigeons in the middle of a square, and they fly, but they notice this trail of bread following us.
That's the kind of aid or interfere I think we're looking for. So, Chaz, you have advantage. Gilles has marked stress to give it to you. Go for it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get spooky. I will one hand on the wheel. I pull out the harmonica and I start playing a like a jaunty chase tune on it, like the kind of tune that would play in the movies if there was a car chase going on, right? And let's see what we got. So Fable, I'm not great at this. Actually, -1, but I've got advantage. So, oh, nice. That's 11 -1 gets me to 10.
That's still a 10. So on a hit, the world warps to your will, and these pigeons attracted back down by the pieces of bread on the road. On a 10, choose one. 7 and 9, choose 2. So on a 10, choose 1. What do you choose?
I love draw attention and made myself a target now or later.
Yeah, 4 men in a jeep. As the Zill slows.
Oh yeah,
somebody
who's witnessing this going on. Sure.
We then notice just parked up in the shadows of this square, a group of 4, one from each of the powers, in a jeep, and it squeals out in pursuit. Pearl, Marguerite is sat next to you. In my mind's eye, I have Chaz driving. You had her, so you got into the front seat, the pair of you. I have Gilles and Nico in the back seat. What, Pearl, do we see you doing during this chase, or anything else?
I mean, there's a Jeep coming up behind us. I think
there is now a Jeep between you and the slow. I think you would have lost the Zill at this point, but you now have a Jeep with a member of each of the 4 powers.
In front of us. One of all 4, huh? I'm not sure there's something really great that I want to do. Well, so we do have, Pearl does have her pouch of river rocks, and she could potentially throw them to, befuddle, distract, right? Potentially harm some of those folks, and so I think maybe that's the move.
I think that's as simple as aid Chaz to drive away from the Jeep, in the same way that Gilles used the bird, helped the birds. I think if you start throwing stones at these guys in the Jeep, an open Jeep, that may well give Chaz an advantage to try and escape the Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or are you actually wanting to do more with those stones?
No, I think that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah.
Okay, so Pearl just marks stress so that Chaz can have advantage, can roll with advantage on trying to escape the Jeep.
Yeah, and this is just I kind of like look over my shoulder. I'm like, I wave my hat at them, and then just punch it into 4th gear and hit a straightaway and just roar away from them. This is just, I'm just getting out.
Yeah.
Breaking out. is what I'm
This
trying to do.
this
here.
doesn't seem like you're kind of trying to lose them in the back streets of Vienna. This sounds like brute force neglect.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
roll
this is
plus weapon.
they're in a Jeep. I'm in a sports car. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So I got advantage with this. So this at +2. 7 + 2 gets me to 9.
9. On a hit, you make it. On 7 to 9, you leave something important behind or take something difficult with you. Mark stress. What do you leave behind? Is there anyone who wants to fall out of the Jeep?
Or take
Out
something
of the back of the car?
or take something difficult with me. Oh, you know what? It's if this is cool, it's like a piece of jewelry or something like that belongs to our passenger, so that when they find it, they'll know exactly who she is. Like they'll know who we
Yes.
have in the vehicle with us.
Fine. A possession of Marguerite's.
Yeah, maybe
that's quite cool.
her clutch purse or something like that goes flying,
Yeah.
and through all the craziness.
Yeah, maybe when Pearl gets up, she's had this purse in her hand, and suddenly it's kind of just flies out the back of the car. And I think just to make that interesting, we will see the Zil catch up to the Jeep, and Boris getting the Russian MP to hand the purse to him so he can get one of his mages to track its owner. Let's just leave that one on the shelf for later. Nico, it looks like you're free. Where are you suggesting that you should drive? Where should you go? Now you have the hostage. Woot woot.
Maybe there's an old.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt just for a sec?
Of course.
So I'm cool with the 4 in the Jeep having that information on her. But kind of the whole point of this was to get away from Boris and be like out of like Boris to not know what was going on.
Okay.
Is that
fair enough? Yeah. That's okay.
Cool.
That's okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. We'll have
like
Major Calloway
because
come
we made a bunch of rolls to get away from Boris.
Yeah, you did.
So,
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair point.
Thanks.
The threat to you and her becomes somebody else now. Maybe McKay, maybe Calloway. Who knows? So no, that's fine. So Nico, what happens next?
We're thinking we could maybe hide out in an old brewery or something like that. It's probably
I kind of want to see some. We all the character creation creates some kind of place you lot live. I kind of would like to have us engage with those scenes, those locations, if I'm honest. So I suppose what I'm curious about, Nico, is are you volunteering to have them bring her to your apartment? And if no one volunteers, then we'll resort to the brewery.
I've got a nice apartment. We're driving back to my place.
I'm curious about Nico.
That's also where I keep my car.
I'm curious about Nico because Nico, this is Nico's last session, and I want to give Nico a chance to have be part of this last scene in a location he wants. So, in fact, Nico, don't let me twist your arm. Where do you want to tell Chaz to drive?
I actually kind of like the visual of Chaz's apartment. It's an old ballet studio, right? I like the visual of that, like maybe a big.
Yeah, it's a loft over the top of the ballet studio there. Yeah, so yeah.
I kind of like that. Maybe we're using the old ballet studio to stash your car. Maybe the walls were broken or something like that, and it's kind of cordoned off, and the car's kind of driving in, and we see the big wall covering mirror or what's left of it, like the pieces that are still on the wall, and yeah, then we can go from there.
Great. So that's lovely because we get a lovely kind of shot of the car coming into this space, and the headlights reflecting back at us in that mirror. So we're suddenly well lit, and Marguerite finally draws breath. and looks at Pearl and says, "What have I done? Well, who are you?"
Oh, darling, it's fine. Everything will be. Look, just look at you. Look at your hair. Look how perfect you are. This is going to be just fine.
I think that you need to convince her that she's safer with you than she is with them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sway someone to your cause.
I'm just trying to make her feel safe, right? And secure, and know that, you know, we're not going to make her do something that, you know, that she doesn't want to do.
Okay, that sounds like offer comfort then, rather than make a stand. So when you offer comfort to someone willing to listen, roll plus dreamer, she's certainly willing to listen to you, Pearl, even if you have really cold hands.
Yeah. Okay. Let's give that a shot. Yeah, that's great. It's good.
How great is great?
Well, technically that would be 14. So
that is great. Okay. So on 10 plus, take leverage over the person you comfort. So you can say Marguerite Durand.
Okay.
+1 leverage. And I think that on a hit, you are both steadied and can clear a condition or stress. So it makes you feel good as well when she leans into you and just bursts into tears. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I think we're probably upstairs in Chaz's loft. And while Marguerite is relieved to be here and is staying slightly clingily staying next to Pearl, what happens next?
I think Gilles gonna help himself to whatever is in the fridge or the bar.
Oh, if only there was a fridge, I think probably.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, because I would quite like Marcus to be fingering the pipe. I think Marcus is because he's hungry and he wants food.
Okay, so like with pretty much no explanation at first, people think that I'm gonna like help myself with stuff to eat or maybe lay a table for everyone. I pick a number of stuff from the larder and I just head out. With other word, I just leave. I just took stuff, foods and a bottle of wine or something, and I leave.
Is anyone going to try and stop Gilles leaving? I honestly don't know if anyone has any leverage on him. I think they probably don't. No. So I was just, I'm just curious to see him have to respond to a mission from Marcus. Anybody tried to stop him leaving with the food, Chaz? Your food. I
I kind of raise an eyebrow and look at him.
I nodded. I said,
"Yeah, I want to try and decipher him, figure out. Like, good. He's not saying anything. He's keeping it close to the chest about what's going on. I'm like, what is up with this now?
Go for it.
Like, light up a room and leave. All right. So, when you take the time to decipher person's situation, say if you're using natural or supernatural sense, this is I'm just giving him the hairy eyeball here. So,
yeah. Roll plus operator.
Yeah, normally +3, but I realized I've compromised Mark from last time, so it's just added +1. I think the last time I rolled operator, I got boxcars, so I was okay on that, even with the -2. But oh yeah, no, that's terrible. That's
how terrible.
It's a 5.
Mark experience. Yep. On a miss, still ask 1. but you're in the MC's hands. Prepare for the worst.
Yeah. Oh, I get to still ask a question. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the question I'm going to ask is, what's going on under the surface?
I quite like if this isn't a kind of interpreting Gilles. I like that this is you are just saying to him, what's going on? Because I'm curious what Gilles going to say.
Yeah, I think I'd just say, you know what I say to him is I say, light up a room and leave. What's going on?
I mean, that was very fun, all of that, but duty calls. I need to answer to my boss. So have a lovely evening, everyone. Stay gentlemanly with the lady, and see you tomorrow.
That's enough to make a fellow wish that you had some free will.
You do read too many fables.
Because you don't have to go, do you, Gilles? You do have an out. I'm just testing Gilles' responsiveness here, really.
No, I don't have to, but in this case, it's easy for me to. I got food at hand, so I might as well do it straight away. It's gonna be dealt with much easier if I just go bring food, and then hopefully I can be on my merry way again.
Has anybody taken an advancement this session so far?
I just got my second one with that miss.
Every time you have to take an entanglement, don't you? When you take an
sure do.
Have we got an entanglement on the table for Chaz yet?
No.
Which of the 4 powers does Chaz want to have an entanglement with?
So what I marked, presuming that when we got a moment and things slowed down a bit, we would get to it, was I picked Soviet entanglements gain a handler, and I think that's Piotr.
Okay, yeah. So
with them, like us, that the little dance we're doing getting more intricate as
okay.
We go here.
So that's because the audience thinks that he's dancing to your tune, but he's your handler. Okay. And because what I'm wondering is what to do with that 6 you just rolled. You see, you're in the MC's hands.
One thing you could do is turn it around on me and let Gil ask me a question off of that list because I'm given something because I'm like being too obvious about it.
Yeah. Okay. What about that, Gilles? Is there something you want to know about Chaz?
That's my favorite thing to do on all those gather information moves is flip it back around on people.
I would ask, I could gain leverage over Chaz.
So, Chaz? Like if he stayed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you did like if my nudging you actually got you to stay, that would make me go, huh? I didn't expect that to work. And that, yeah.
So I think what's on the table here, Gilles, is you can decline Marcus's mission and mark stress equal to their leverage, which is 1, and gain leverage on Chaz, or not.
So I would mark 1 stress anyway.
Because what I'm looking at is they begin with 1 leverage on you. So Marcus has leverage on you. When you decline or abandon a mission of theirs, mark stress equal to their leverage.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you do stay, you've marked stress, but you would gain leverage on Chaz.
Yeah, no. You're not such a smooth talker, Chaz. See you tomorrow morning.
Okay. Nico, what do we see you doing now that in theory, you have Marguerite. I'm kind of wanting to give Nico an exit scene.
Yeah, I
somehow.
have an idea for that. It depends. Is there any reason we would want to have Stepanovich here? Just him. To interrogate him or anything? Do we need any more information for our plan? Because I could switch places with him right now.
Oh, yes, you could.
And then I would be out of the pictures, which works.
You would.
And
how delightful. What do we think? Pearl? Chaz? Do you want to summon Stepanovich? Sans goons?
I think that's crazy.
It is.
Yeah. So,
honest question, I don't know if we need him. I'm just that's an
so
option.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say no, because we spent all that time trying to get away from him, like time and effort, like to get somewhere where he doesn't know where we are. Wasn't there somebody? Who was the other person that you swapped blood with in that first game?
Gaspar, but it only lasts until the next sunrise.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, if you got Stepanovich now, he would arrive without his goons.
Yeah,
he would be in your gift.
I mean, your call, but I don't like I don't see our, like, I'm not sure what our play is there. What
okay. No,
sure, I mean, unless it's like just to, cut his throat or something like that.
I'll leave that up to you guys. You have to deal with the fallout. I'm out next week. So if you guys want him here, he'll be here. Otherwise, he won't.
I mean,
I don't have to deal with the problem afterwards. So
that might make Marguerite feel safer if she knew he wasn't still after her. I don't know.
True. Yeah,
but I don't want to see him murdered in front of her. So tit for tat.
Let's put it to her.
Oh,
I like
that. Yeah, we can. We could bring him here. We can do whatever we want to him. We can make him pay for this.
Oh, I think
if you have questions for him, you can ask them.
Oh, I think Marguerite, because she's not worried about her sister, the pianist.
Mm-hmm.
Without her, they might go after Seraphine. So I think Marguerite is thinking, as long as he's out there looking for me, I'm at risk. I think Marguerite would like him prisoner.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What does that look like, Nico, when you, because it's not a roll, you just do it once you've marked them, don't you?
Yeah. There's one mechanical questions, I guess. It says at the end, these effects last until you release them or until next sunrise, whichever comes first.
Well, go ahead.
I'm wondering, does that mean I can only switch places with him until sunrise, or do we switch back once sunrise?
I think you switch back. I think you can change places until sunrise.
Is that still useful for us?
I think Marguerite would still like to have him answer some questions about what happens to her sister now.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I think the first thing that looks like is, we handcuff Max to a radiator.
Yeah, I like that.
Leaving his hands free enough to make whatever little, motions he needs to make. But yeah.
What's going to happen to him on the other side, though? I'm a little curious about that.
Well, we can find that out.
Yeah.
Because I think that's our exit scene then. On the one hand, Nico, what do we see happen as you are chained to the radiator?
I think Nico's eyes start getting bloodshot again, and it gets redder and redder, and I think it becomes kind of blinding at some point. And maybe like for 5 seconds or so, and when the light kind of fades somewhat, then there's Stepanovich just sitting there, chained to the radiator.
And there's a moment of kind of, and then we cut. Nico, where was Stepanovich when you switched?
How deep into shit do I want to be here?
It's your choice.
It was totally in the banya.
Nico, what do you want to do?
I think he was shouting at his henchmen to figure out where we went, to go find us and find Marguerite.
So standing round the Zill, and suddenly they're looking, and suddenly he's gone, you're there. What do?
I think I'm in the same motion as he was. I think he was like gesturing, and then just it stops, and he just kind of looks around. And I think we can probably just cut there and leave that open.
Yeah. So we don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that is our logical exit scene. Stepanovich a prisoner, Marguerite rescued, Nico, we don't know, Gilles delivering supper to a child. I think that's fine. Okay, thank you very much for that. I'd like to do a quick stars and wishes if I could.
End of session.
End of session. Yeah, you need to remind me of that. I don't design games with end of session moves, but I should do. There's an end of session tab. At the end of each session, choose one. So let me start with, let me go in character keeper order. Start with Nico. Which one of those?
Oh, the end of session moves. I guess it doesn't really matter, but.
Oh, but we're curious.
Yeah, okay. Has been shifted. I think by putting myself into trouble here, it would probably be the last one. Describe how another operative can tell you take a bullet for them. I think by switching places with him going into dangerous territory, that makes the most sense here.
And that removes one stress from them. So which one of them do you think? I think it probably has to be Pearl or Chaz because they were present when you did the switch.
Let's do Pearl.
Okay, Pearl gets to remove one stress. Nico gains one stress technically, but we know that's not going to be a big deal. And then we'll move along to Pearl. Which one of those?
I think, and I don't, well, so I'd love to figure out how to gain some advantageous insight over Stepanovich. I don't know if that makes sense given what we've been through here.
I think a conversation in the car or afterwards with Marguerite.
Right.
You had that heart to heart and everything. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think you can have leverage on Stepanovich. I think that's quite neat.
Great.
What about Chaz?
Oh, I definitely gained advantageous insight into Djinn Gil.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Gain leverage on Gilles.
Yeah. I am exactly as charming as I think I am. But somebody's got something on him. That's what's going on there.
Gilles, which one of those do you think applied?
I hesitate between my character ideology change or gain leverage. The gain leverage would be interesting. I find it would be fun with Chaz. I don't know if I guess it works because there's sort of been a rapport like that, and we're interested into each other. So that's quite.
You had a moment.
So I think I'll go with that.
So add leverage to Chaz, and then so I don't forget. Let us just go down to your release moves or the release indicators. Nico, Did you berate someone for not heeding your orders or advice, or sacrifice an ally for advantage, or reveal how a current problem is connected to your past actions?
If any, the last one since McKean or whatever his
Yeah,
name.
McKay. Yeah, I think
McKay.
that's fair. And so again, I appreciate that it won't matter much to you, but you will mark XP or reduce stress.
Okay.
Yeah, you might come back in a subsequent session, Nico. You never know, Max. You might come back, bring Nico back. In terms of Pearl, Will leave behind a piece of yourself.
Really?
Misconstrue someone's words or actions terribly.
I don't think so.
Spare someone you probably shouldn't.
No, but that's still coming.
Yes, I did wonder. Chaz, toy with your prey before sealing their fate?
Not yet. Boris chained to a radiator now. So
Capricious, flee a situation you've made more difficult.
like I feel like yes.
Yes,
Like that.
I
I bailed out the front door of the restaurant while everybody was still fighting. So yeah.
Without the hostage, even.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. I trust Pearl.
So reduce stress or mark XP?
I'm at 3 out of 4 stress, so I'm going to bump my stress down.
Okay, and then make things harder for yourself in order to look dashing. We touched on that one before.
I marked that earlier. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Knock down stress or maintain XP?
When I marked it before, I took an XP, and that's part of what I got for my.
Okay. And finally, Gilles, did you mock or reject someone who cares about you?
Chaz, would you say you care about me? I'm not sure I mocked you, but
I think it's early days.
Early
days.
I think so too.
Show off to impress someone insufficiently. Yeah, I think I gave you that one on Marguerite. Venge will get back at someone who wronged you with massive overkill. No, not yet. Not yet. Okay. Then I think our game is done. Let us. I will do stars and wishes. Yes, let me do stars and wishes.
Oh, and let me make a quick note that I've got a Soviet handler now. And for my second advance, I took code name. So the Soviets have a code name for me.
Ooh.
Oh, come on. What is the code name? Or you want to think about that?
I don't think I get to decide what my code name is.
Oh, right.
I think the Soviets decide that, right?
Okay.
So you've got a week to come up with something.
No,
cool.
It's here already.
Oh, okay.
Red Flash.
Red Flash. Okay. All right. Codename Red Flash.
Codename Red Flash. What am I thinking? Okay. Stars and wishes. Let me start with Callum. Any stars? I'll come back for wishes.
I really like my interactions with Chaz. I like we had a discussion about how to trigger a move for me to reveal that actually it didn't have any implication because I cannot summon animals like that. Yeah, and I really love the fact that it sort of went like a bunch of rude people in a restaurant. We just made a mess of the situation, but it was very funny, I thought.
I like the way that just moves began to just ripple outwards from a moment of chaos. Then Jim.
Oh, that was great. Stars to Callum for just jumping right in. We got a sense I had a sense at the beginning, very clearly who his character was, what his deal was. And that was, and very much felt like there was none of that, kind of having to shoehorn him in or anything like that. It felt very natural to go, oh yeah, this is another operative we can bring in on this who'll be helpful to it.
Thank you.
So I really like that. Yeah.
It went so smoothly. We need a heavy hitter on this. He's really good with a wine bottle.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Will, any stars?
I think also it was great. Callum was a great addition, bringing in and really kind of hit the ground with some interesting choices, and it was fun. I love the fact that we now have a golem and a djinn. I think that's neat, as I mentioned in our chat. But also definitely starve to Max for the sacrifice at the end to swap with Stepanovich. I think that's fantastic. It's a great ending. I love it. And yeah, it's really good. And Chaz, the good times are always good. It's such a fun character. Anyway, thank you.
And finally, Max.
I really like Chaz pickpocketing Marguerite, getting caught, and then trying to turn that one around, kind of turn the reason why he pickpocketed, or actually try to place a note, just straight up showing the note and trying to spin that in some other direction. I love that. That was really great, I think, and the whole car chase was fun. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd endorse a lot of those. I think that these characters are really interesting, and the way they interacted today was good fun. Thank you. Round, we'll go for a quick run of wishes. Start with you, Kaloum.
I wish Nico could stay.
Yeah. Sad to see you go, Nico.
Yeah.
Beyond that, anything you want to see next time?
Not really. I'm just very curious to see where it goes, and it's most a start. But I really appreciate your game mastering, Alan. So I just wish we were already at the next session. That's it.
That's very kind of you, Jim.
I wouldn't mind the opportunity to do something, to do some stuff that's a little more along the lines of sneaking around, infiltrating stuff, some of a little more kind of, stealth operational stuff. This was just like a smash and grab, basically what we did here. So it'd be cool to at least maybe a little, like, within whatever we're doing next week, have something that's a little more of like running a con on somebody or something like that.
Let me run this by you now, because it seems to me that the loose end in this is either to do with the concert, because the music is still in existence, the piano is still in existence, the pianist is still in existence. So there's a little less leverage on that pianist, but this dangerous symphony is still in circulation. So, think about that. Will, anything you would like to see?
I'm gonna go backward looking a little bit and wish that I had slapped that goon that stepped in front of Pearl and said, "No, I don't want to dance with you." But hindsight.
It's always 2020, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm definitely curious to see, how we resolve what's going on with the music. I think that's certainly, kind of top of mind now that we've got Marguerite to safety, and just I'm really interested in how we get to that point. So I think it'll be
fine.
Be fun.
I think it has to revolve around making that music safe for somebody. Max, you're not here, but if there was something that you wanted to see, what would it be?
I think I said that last time, just the other powers pulling in the different direction as well. I think we had that a little bit, and now we have another American involved with I forgot his name again. McKay. But yeah, I would have liked to see that if I were there.
Yeah, I think that there has to be some kind of Mexican standoff involving. Now, I think we've got a Brit, an American, and a Soviet handler kind of character in play. So it would seem logical that there's some kind of standoff at the end of the next session. Okay, folks, I'm going to end the broadcast. So say bye-bye to the internet.